Welcome to His Book, Her Book, the conversational podcast where a horror-obsessed husband and his genre-hopping wife try to understand each other's reading choices, clash tastes, and stay happily married through it all. Together, we'll dive into stories from opposite ends of the bookshelf, laughing, debating, recommending, and occasionally roasting each other's picks. Because in this relationship, there's one guarantee. The only thing scarier than his novels is my TBR shelf. This is His Book, Her Book, hosted by German and Jackie. Sit back, grab a snack, and enjoy the literary chaos.
Welcome to this episode of His Book, Her Book. We're your hosts, German
and Jackie. Last week, we talked about some of 2025's hits.
Yeah.
And misses. What are we talking about this week?
This week, we're going to talk about some of our favorite examples of a trope we really enjoy. For you?
Time travel.
And for me, haunted houses, which is, I think, a favorite for a lot of people, right?
Yeah. I'm sure these are going to be very popular tropes.
Yeah,
I hope they're popular
so,
tropes.
Yeah.
Or if not, if people are maybe curious about time travel. So, German, let's start with your trope. Tell us what you love so much about haunted houses.
Haunted houses, for me, longtime favorite. I mean, come on. Haunted houses as a thing, I think, starts at such a young age for most of us, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody had a haunted house in their neighborhood. Where I grew up in Jersey, really anywhere that somebody's grown up, there was always that one house in the neighborhood that maybe just a little more weathered, a little darker, a little more sort of like scary than the other houses in the neighborhood. The sun never seemed to hit it.
House.
You did? Oh, yeah, yours probably.
Dark looming house.
Yeah, but the sun never shine on these houses. And then we had one house at night, there's never any exterior lights on, even interior lights on, or they just didn't work, or maybe the house was abandoned. I don't know. Anyway, there's also actually, speaking of abandoned, we had an abandoned sort of warehouse down at the end of our block that was also super creepy.
Sounds creepy.
Yeah, I know. I had to walk by it sometimes when I was doing my paper route. Yeah, this is when people read papers. And I know. And I always pick up the pace just a little bit as I'm striding by, trying to look cool, but no, I'm not. But then, of course, start watching horror movies. Haunted house movies, the Amityville Horror, The Shining, still going today, Paranormal Activity, The Conjuring, et cetera, et cetera. All this just to say I have a love for the haunted house trope still today. Ghosts, strange happenings. It's in what we all believe is our safest space, our house.
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it. All right, German, so let's get into your first novel. What are you recommending?
My first novel is 12 Nights at Rotterhouse, written by J.W. Acker, published in 2019. And let's keep the synopsis thing going, Jackie.
All right. A horror novel following jaded travel writer Felix, who stays at the notorious haunted Rotter House to write a book accompanied by his estranged friend Thomas. As they experience escalating paranormal occurrences, they confront their broken friendship, but the house's true horror stems from their own psychological unraveling and a shocking twist.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, as the haunted house, it is a haunted house novel, as the synopsis says, but it is with a twist, and I won't spoil that. I'd rather let everyone discover it and judge it for themselves.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it is a good one. Personally, what I think. What I will say is Felix is supposed to stay 13 nights, but the title reads, dun, dun, dun. Anyway, at the heart of the story is, yes, the infamous Rotterdam mansion with its tainted history, including some bizarre and horrific deaths. The house also features classic haunted house elements like disembodied voices, unsettling figures, and items apparently moving on their own. What every haunted house has, right? But what I like is, actually, I really like this. What I like is that the house is also sort of a vessel for the story of the friendship between Felix and Thomas. Well, let's call it a strained friendship. This is a slow burn tale, so know that ahead of time going into it. But I feel that this novel really needs that, like for you to really get to know the two main characters. and to learn about their friendship and why it's strained and why Felix hopes this time alone with Thomas will help possibly mend it, if it even can be mended. They seem to have a good rapport in the story. They love haunted houses and they love horror movie trivia. Felix is a bit of a skeptic. Thomas is a believer. I found myself asking what happened that screwed up their friendship. But this is a haunted house story. Let's not forget that. The slow burn tension works here. And from all his previous experiences on haunted houses, Felix, like I said, is a skeptic. But it gets harder and harder for him to explain the occurrences away. Not only that, but he finds that the nonfiction book he came here to write is moving closer to like an all-out horror novel. The twist, again, I'm not going to give it away, but I will say it is divisive, and I lean to the side that I love it.
I loved it.
You loved it too. Thank you. See? I knew something
really
was catching. Because I knew something was coming, but I didn't catch it. Caught me by surprise.
Caught me by surprise.
I will say no matter what the twist is, as I was reading the book, I felt like I was reading a haunted house book. I'll leave it at that. On an interesting side note, I will say the author, J.W. Acker, is mainly a nonfiction travel writer. He writes about odd places he's visited,
That's cool.
cursed objects. Yeah. So this novel is kind of him playing in a fictional space that mirrors his real life.
Oh, that's cool.
It's kind of neat. Yeah.
So overall, who are we going to recommend 12 Nights at Rudder House to?
If you love haunted house books, or if you love books with a twist, or if you love both, I think it's for you.
Yeah, I think it was a fun story.
Mm-hmm.
So, not taking horror too seriously.
No,
maybe.
yeah. I would say that.
Yeah.
Scary moments, but not taking it too seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
a good one.
So, Jackie, what about your trope?
I love the trope of time travel. Anytime I hear a book involves time travel, I immediately want to read it. And for me, it's not the focus of how the time travel happens, like the physics of it. I don't want to get lost in the minutia of the mechanics involved. What I really enjoy is how time travel can be used as an instrument for creating a really thought-provoking, multi-dimensional storyline. It's a concept that I think pushes us to question our own timeline and all the what ifs and possible alterations we would make of our pasts if we could. I just find time travel to be genuinely like such a fun and inventive extra layer to storytelling. I also like that when I'm reading a book that has time travel, I'm not just a passive reader. Like, you need to be more present and involved in the story, and I love that.
Well, funny enough, when I knew you were going to do time travel, I looked through my lists and could not find a book that read about time travel, bizarrely enough.
Maybe you'll read one of my recommendations.
My last
today.
book had like a smidgen of it in it, but nothing enough for me to say I've read time travel.
All right. I've got to get a time travel book
Seriously.
for you.
And what is your first pick for this?
All right. Well, my first book today is This Time Tomorrow by Emma Straub, and this was published in 2022. German, you want to read the synopsis?
My turn. It's a New York Times best-selling novel that follows 40-year-old Alice Stern, who unexpectedly travels back in time to her 16th birthday. Confronted with her ailing father, Leonard, in her present life, Alice uses this temporal shift as an opportunity to reconnect with his younger, healthier self and explore the butterfly effect of her past decisions.
Every time I think about this book, I get like a serotonin boost. I just loved it so much. I'm not going to lie. I actually have multiple copies of this book because I lend it out so frequently. I describe this book as a hug, a gut punch, and a time travel thought experiment all wrapped into one perfect package. If you've ever wished you could go back to your past, not to fix or change things, but to just be there again, you're going to feel very seen by this novel. Okay, so as German mentioned, In the synopsis, the story centers around Alice, a woman on the brink of turning 40, who suddenly finds herself waking up in her high school bedroom on her 16th birthday. And what the author does so beautifully is make this premise feel less like sci-fi gimmicky and more like an emotional doorway. The question isn't how does time travel work, but what would it feel like to inhabit your younger self with everything you know now?
Oh.
Chills. First off, I have to say for me, Alice was such a likable and relatable character. She's thoughtful, funny, she's self-critical and devoted. I was roughly 40 when I read this book, so time traveling back to the mid-90s when I was also 16 just felt like the best fever dream ever. One of the novel's core themes is parent-child relationships, particularly the way we come to understand our parents as full, flawed, real people rather than like fixed figures. The book handles this with real tenderness. It's about grief for sure, but also it's about connection, memory, and the strange miracle of getting more time even when we know we can't change the outcome. Another major theme is acceptance. The premise isn't about revising the past and trying to make it perfect. It emphasizes that growth doesn't come from rewriting our lives, but from seeing them more clearly and embracing the imperfections. Overall, this novel is about love across time, about learning how to live with what we can't change, and the grace of understanding ourselves and the people who raised us just a little bit better. Again, every time I think about this book, I just feel all the things. All right, who should read this time tomorrow?
Yep.
If you like character-driven stories, surprise, surprise, me and another character-driven book. It's like the theme of my show, my part of the show. Books about family, more specifically relationships between parents and their children. Witty and really insightful writing. I love Emma Straub's writing so much. If you were a teenager in the 90s, you will love this. I would not recommend this if you're currently caring for a sick parent or if you've recently lost a parent. If you, in the past, have lost a parent, just you read the trigger warnings. I'd want to be really sensitive to that. And lastly, I also just want to mention on a side note regarding the author, I just got notification that the library has my copy of American Fantasy, which is her latest book. And so excited to read that one too.
I can't believe we didn't pick that up yet.
Oh, this week for sure.
Okay.
So, German, what's your second book?
My second book is called How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix, published in 2023.
And here's the synopsis. Louise Joyner must return to Charleston to sell her deceased parents' home, battling her estranged brother Mark and a malevolent puppet-haunted house. The novel blends horror, humor, and family drama, focusing on overcoming grief, confronting the past, and literally destroying creepy possessed objects to make the house market ready. That sounds fun. I love possessed objects.
Oh, good. Well, actually, now that you mentioned that, if there is any trigger warning for this, it is pretty gory and violent. But the main thing is if you are scared of puppets and dolls and creepy stuff like that, then there's my warning for you.
Well, I know for a fact, German, you hate creepy dolls.
Boy, do I ever. Anyway, so this is a Grady Hendrix haunted house tale. If you read him before, he's all about finding ways to infuse humor into horror. Does it really well, I think. The book is a roller coaster ride of terror, camp, comedy, and genuine emotion. So I like to think of it as heartfelt horror.
I like that.
It's new,
That's
right?
fun. That's cute.
Another hallmark, another thing that Grady loves is the female protagonist. And this book's no different. We have Louise. She's mostly happy as a single mom to her daughter, Poppy. But then she is heartbroken when she gets a call from her estranged brother, Mark, telling her that her parents have died suddenly in a car accident. So she is headed to South Carolina, enter the house. She wants to make arrangements with her brother to deal with the funeral, the belongings, and the house itself. But she finds that her slacker brother, Mark, has already made funeral arrangements and he's done it poorly. Both of them do want to sell the house, but they find that the house also is kind of a hoarder's paradise. There's puppets and dolls amongst books and literature thing their mom kept.
I'd love this house.
The house is a
I want to live
mess.
here.
No, you do not believe me. There's stuff falling off the shelves. So on top of everything else, now they have a lot of cleanup to do before they can even think of selling the house. Speaking of cleaning up and of puppets, enter Pupkin. That's right, Pupkin. He's the wicked puppet. He plays a very big role in the story, way beyond the haunted house. He's so central to the story, not just in a physical sense, but metaphorically and psychologically too. Now, there is some tension or some tense family drama between Louise and Mark simmering throughout. It involves a major childhood incident that has kind of been swept under the rug, which I don't know how, but it was. And Pupkin's involved in that too. He's got a bit of hold on her, a bit of a hold on Mark, both like when they were young and now as adults. And they've realized if they're going to cleanse themselves of the house, sell the house, but cleanse themselves of the house, not just physically, they're going to have to come together and confront their shared past and confront Pupkin. On a final note here, I'm not going to give away anything else. There's a film adaptation currently being developed for How to Sell a Haunted House, adapted by Hendrix himself, and it looks like be directed by James Ashcroft of Coming Home in the Dark fame, which I haven't seen, but I've heard good things about.
Fun.
Yeah, I think so.
I want to know more about Pupkin.
Oh, Pupkin's everywhere.
Pupkin.
Everything is just evil. He's just one of the best antagonists ever.
Sounds like a really fun book.
It
sounds like it's not like overly scary. I don't know.
No, there's definitely some scary parts, but it's like all the Hendrix's stuff that I've read. It's kind of like this fun horror, like funhouse horror. So there's some violent stuff in there. I'm not going to say what it is, but it's more of that, I don't know, like cartoon violence in a sense. Yeah.
Okay. I've never read anything by this author. So
man, it's time to start.
Maybe this is my intro.
Yeah, it could be.
All right.
You want to go to your second book?
Yes.
All right. Should I take care? Well, you tell us first what it is.
So my second book, again, regarding my trope today of time travel, is Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister. And this was published in 2022.
Synopsis for me?
Go for it.
All right. Wrong Place, Wrong Time is a high-concept psychological thriller about Jen, a mother whose witnesses her teenage son murder a stranger on the doorstep. Waking up the next day, she discovers she is traveling backwards in time, repeating days in reverse, and must uncover the cause to prevent the murder. Gee, that sounds good.
Oh, this is such a good one. So, yes, as German mentioned, the novel opens with a mother, Jen, witnessing her teenage son commit this shocking, devastating act of violence. But just when you think you know what kind of story you're in for, the book takes a sharp turn because Jen wakes up the next morning and it's yesterday.
Whoa.
So fun. This book is a great example of time travel being used in just a really fresh and unique way. I love how the plot is essentially solving a crime in reverse, and the author does an amazing job of pulling the reader in, so you almost feel like you're a detective with each previous date that Jen wakes up in. You're trying to piece together the significance of it, like right along with her. One of the book's strongest themes is parenthood and responsibility. The time travel aspect forces Jen to reflect upon an already painful question: how much of who a child becomes can be influenced by their parents, and how much is shaped by forces unseen? As Jen travels backwards through time, the novel becomes less about preventing one event and more about understanding a lifetime of small choices and missed signs. Another key theme in Wrong Place, Wrong Time is causality, the idea that lives are shaped not just by major decisions, but by ordinary days and moments and seemingly offhand interactions. And this notion really brings me back to how time travel, when done well, inadvertently causes the reader to reflect on their own past and the moments that shape their current lives. I I really just can't emphasize how obsessed I was with the concept of this book, specifically how this reverse timeline just flips our usual expectations of a story instead of moving towards a climax or digging towards an origin. And this really adds to the tension of the plot because every step Jem takes into the past feels like it might finally reveal the why. And I think you get an awesome payoff at the end too with this one. It's especially impressive how seamlessly McAllister blends the time travel structure with suspense. I would definitely categorize this book as a page turner. It is so smartly written. Each chapter kind of forces you to second guess what you thought you knew, which overall makes the reading experience like addictive, mentally stimulating, and just so much fun. All right. So who should read this book? If you enjoy smart thrillers, unconventional timelines, books that combine high concept ideas with like real emotional depth, again, of course, the main character is just so well written, fully formed, another character driven story. I also would say if you are a movie buff and you remember the 90s movie Memento.
Oh, I remember that.
Memento?
Yeah.
This book gives serious Memento vibes in all the best ways. So I would say that would be another reason to check this one out. Oh, and I had mentioned that Emma Straub's newest book is available. That's American Fantasy. Gillian McAllister also has a book that was just released. This is titled Caller Unknown, and I can't wait to check that one out too.
Right on.
All right, let's wrap this up.
All right.
Any final thoughts on your picks today, German?
Actually, I do. So we had 2 haunted house books, one a slow burn, the other a fun house. But beyond the house, we have 2 stories about broken human relationships, buried secrets, and especially the weight of the past. It's common for both horror novels, though Rotter House turns the horror inward, where How to Sell a Haunted House, it's horror forcing the past outward. I kind of found it interesting that both books deal with damaged 2-person relationship. There's Felix and Tom's friendship in Rotter House, and Louise and Mark's sibling bond in How to Sell a Haunted House. Both relationships are deeply a part of the haunting due to the past trauma. In the end, both books ask who is actually haunting whom. Same question, very different takes. Jackie, any last thoughts on your picks?
Yeah, I could say something similar. I had 2 very different uses of time travel, but both stories connected by the profoundly touching relationship between a parent and a child. We had Alice and her dad in This Time Tomorrow, and Jen and her son in Wrong Place, Wrong Time. I would also want the takeaway from my books to be, don't let time travel intimidate you. It is not just a trope for sci-fi fans. These books showcase brilliant examples of time travel in contemporary literature and suspense. And I don't want to steal your thunder today, German, but I actually have a quick recommendation for my take on a haunted house trope. I'd like listeners to chime in on this one too, but I would categorize the book Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier as a bit of a haunted house tale. I think I could make the argument that Rebecca haunts the halls of Manderley. Most likely I'll talk about that book and a bunch of her other novels in future episodes, but just something I wanted to throw out there.
Also, don't forget to follow the show on your favorite podcasting service and connect with us on Instagram at podcast_his book, her book. Share the episode with friends too.
Yeah, we want to know what you're reading, what you're recommending. And also quick shout out to a couple of our followers, Lizzie and Paula and Lindsay. Thanks for interacting with us. We've been having fun chatting with you guys.
Yeah, thank you. Also, want to talk about what we're reading right now?
Yeah, what are you reading?
Right now, I am reading Wolf at the Table by Adam Rapp. Now, this was a Daniel Kraus recommendation that I heard on the podcast, The Perks of Being a Book Lover. What about you?
Are you liking it?
I'm loving it.
Nice. I am reading Yesteryear by Carl Claire Burke. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. It is so good.
Good. We're both loving our books.
Yes.
All right. And next episode, what's coming up?
Next episode is going to be some of our favorite historical fiction. This is such a tough one. I have so many favorites.
I have a recent one and I have an older one, so it's going to be fun. So I hope you join us for that next episode. And until then, thank you for listening to His Book, Her Book.
Hopefully they become your books.
Bye.
Bye.